2 weeks ago, the United States launched what it believed would be a decisive strike against Iran. The expectation was simple: remove Iran's leadership, create chaos, trigger regime change, and end the war quickly. But just 14 days later, something shocking has happened. Instead of collapsing, Iran is pushing back harder than expected. Oil routes are under threat. American military assets are reportedly being lost. Global markets are shaking. And now, the biggest twist of all, the United States is talking about a ceasefire. So the real question is, how did America's Operation Epic Fury turn into what critics are now calling an epic blunder? Let's break it down. At the start of the war, Iran wasn't trying to defeat the United States in a traditional military sense. That would be unrealistic. Instead, Iran used something called a victory denial strategy. The idea is simple: if you cannot defeat your opponent, make victory impossible for them. Iran's goal wasn't to destroy the US military. Its goal was to increase the cost of war so much that America would eventually want to exit. And the battlefield for that strategy wasn't just missiles and airstrikes. It was economics, geopolitics, and global energy supply. One of the most critical points in the world is the Strait of Hormuz. Nearly 20% of the world's oil supply passes through this narrow route. And geographically, Iran sits right next to it. This means Iran has a powerful advantage. If this route becomes unsafe, the consequences are immediate. Oil prices rise. Shipping companies panic. Global markets react. In the last 48 hours, reports suggest multiple incidents involving ships in the region. Some vessels have been attacked or damaged. Shipping companies are already becoming cautious. And if tanker traffic slows down even slightly, the ripple effects hit the entire global economy. According to several leaked reports from US officials, the biggest mistake may have happened before the war even started. During the planning phase, American strategists reportedly assumed Iran would never fully disrupt the Strait of Hormuz. The reasoning was simple: blocking it would also hurt Iran's own economy. But that assumption ignored something important. Iran has spent decades surviving under sanctions. Economic pain is not new for them, so while the United States expected Iran to avoid economic escalation, Iran appears willing to take that risk. This conflict is no longer just about military power. It is also about global economic pressure. Oil prices have started climbing. Shipping companies are reconsidering routes. And some Gulf countries are now reviewing their massive financial investments abroad. If instability continues, the economic consequences could spread far beyond the Middle East. And that is exactly the type of pressure Iran's strategy depends on. Because while Iran's economy has already been under sanctions for years, the global economy is far more sensitive to energy disruptions. At the same time, pressure is building inside the United States. Wars are expensive. Every day of military operations increases costs. Rising fuel prices also affect American voters directly. And with political cycles always approaching in Washington, long wars quickly become unpopular. This creates a dangerous situation. The longer the war continues, the more pressure builds on political leaders to find an exit strategy. Iran's leadership has made something very clear. They are not rushing toward negotiations. Instead, they are setting strict conditions for any possible talks. Those conditions reportedly include recognition of Iran's rights regarding nuclear technology, compensation for war damage, and guarantees against future military aggression. Whether these demands are realistic or not is another question. But the message is clear. Iran wants negotiations from a position of strength, not weakness. Right now, the situation remains extremely volatile. Neither side wants to appear weak. Neither side wants to back down publicly. And that makes the next phase of this conflict incredibly dangerous. History has shown something again and again. Many wars start with confidence, but very few end the way leaders expect. And when powerful countries underestimate their opponents, the consequences can last for years. 2 weeks ago, many believed Iran would collapse quickly under pressure. Today, that assumption is being questioned. So now the world is watching one critical question. Will this war expand, or will someone finally step back before it spirals out of control? Because once conflicts reach this stage...
Hello friends, how are you? Welcome back to my new video. So friend, I hope you're fine. 2 weeks ago, the United States launched what it believed would be strike against Iran. Its expectation was simple: remove Iran's leadership, create chaos, trigger regime change, and end the war quickly. But just 14 days later, something shocking has happened. Instead of the collapsing, Iran is pushing back harder. The expected oil route are under threats. American military assets are reportedly being lost. Global markets are shaking, and now the biggest twist of all. The United States is talking about a ceasefire, so the real question is how did America's Operation Fury turn into what critical are now calling an epic blunder? Okay, so friend, let's break it down. At the start of the war, Iran was trying to defeat the United States in traditional military sense. That would be unrealistic